Good morning, everyone, and welcome to church this morning. At least here in and around Concord, it is a beautiful winter day. It's sunny out, there's fresh snow, and more coming tomorrow. Welcome to church this morning. I'm Reverend Howard Dana, and I want to welcome you wherever you have gathered from. Whether you live in and around Concord, or whether you're joining us from across the United States, or in fact, around the world, we are so glad that you have decided to join us for church this morning, and we hope that this hour feeds you in many, many ways. Also, remember, we're on YouTube, so if you can't make it on a Sunday morning or would like to see a service again or would like to share a service with a friend or a relative, just point them toward our Facebook page. You can just type in, or not Facebook, YouTube. There we go. That's the right device, YouTube. So just go to youtube.com and type in First Parish in Concord, and that will get you right there. So you can see services yourself or let other folks see them. Lots of folks are here this morning to help lead worship, and we'll introduce ourselves. Liz Weber is here, our Minister for Pastoral Care.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to church.
And on music, Anderson Manuel.
Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here this morning.
And Beth Norton, our Director of Music Ministry.
Wonderful to be with you all this morning.
Jade Sylvan is our ministerial intern this year.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
And Eric Heineke is our organist and keyboardist. Thanks for that nice prelude.
Good morning. Wonderful to be with you all.
Adrienne Betancourt is here, our social action manager.
Joyful morning to everyone.
And Lily van der Zanden is doing tech this morning. So grateful to have you here.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here.
And last, I'd like to introduce our preacher for the day, someone that is known to many of us and always a welcome person in our pulpit. We want to welcome Reverend Mary Margaret Earle. She works at the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry and has done amazing things there. Our partnership with you and the UUUM is long and strong, and we are so glad to welcome you back to First Parish in Concord this morning. Welcome, Mary Margaret, and she will now give the call to worship.
Thank you, Howard, and good morning, friends. I invite us into the spirit of worship. Let us embrace this day. Life flows swiftly. Let us not wish away this season waiting for another better. The trees bare and gesturing to sky, everything revealed and opened. This separation which tells us how much we need and love one another. This strange time which has taught us new ways of doing things and reminds us of our ingenuity and the ever-present power of creativity. The chill which pulls our arms around us and transforms breath into artful designs in the morning air. The pain and the challenge and the hope and everything which testifies that we are alive. We are alive. Let us embrace this day. Life flows swiftly. Let us not wish away this season, waiting for another better. Come, let us worship together.
And one of the things that we do each Sunday morning to remind ourselves that we are in fact not separate, but gathered together as a congregation from far and wide, is that we light our chalices. So if you have a chalice at home or even a candle will work, it's a nice ritual to do, to just take some flame and to light that chalice. And in that small act, you know that you are connected to everyone in this congregation, to Unitarian Universalists around the world, and to all good people of faith. Please join in our chalice lighting words. O flame of our faith, open our hearts and fill our bodies and souls with persistent strength. Enliven our spirits and engage us deeply in this life of ours, this sacred, essential moment now. And this morning we have a special message from Denny McIntyre. It is February, but that means that we know that March is coming, and in March we do our annual pledge campaign. And so listen to Denny, a long-standing member of our congregation and one who cares deeply for it and who has been fed greatly by it as she starts to get us ready for that all-important pledge campaign. Thank you, Denny, for your words.
Good morning, First Parish friends. I send you a big air hug, as Liz has taught us to do. We'll be back on our balcony post before long, but I miss seeing all your faces. John and I signed the book in 1988, 33 years ago, and First Parish has been an anchor in our lives. Raising children, raising lively children, empty nesting, losing parents, greeting grandchildren, the full circle of life, which in my case has involved bouts of depression when the complexities of family life laid me flat. I started regularly attending summer services in 2002 when my mother was dying, and I needed the quiet hour to recollect myself. COVID has brought similar challenges. Beth said several weeks ago, in times of uncertainty, ritual grounds us. Lighting the chalice in our remote sanctuaries, speaking Paul Sawyer's really marvelous chalice response, Spirit of Life, our benediction. These are rituals I can count on. And unlike the rituals of the Episcopalian Church in which I grew up, they don't ask me to say things I don't believe. The annual pledge is a similar ritual, which ties us together and to this church. I've always been interested in knowing how organizations work. So knowing First Parish's budget and knowing the size of our congregation helps John and me figure where we belong in the pledging spectrum. We try to pledge at a level that feels good, that reflects the importance of First Parish in our lives, and a level at which we hope enables us to regularly grow our commitment. I encourage you to look into what is the right level for you. This is an important part of my life. I expect in yours if you're watching right now. And we're in a stream of humanity that has made it a priority to keep this place going. Happy morning, and I look forward to seeing your real faces before long.
Thank you for those beautiful words, Denny. And now I invite you all into another familiar ritual. Let us sing together our opening hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. Hi, Anderson. I was just
Good
singing a Freedom
morning.
song
Well,
about
that was a
joy.
beautiful song.
Thank you. You know that the topic for Mary Margaret's sermon today is justice and joy. And I was wondering, how can we find joy doing social justice work? I mean, our UU principles lead us to take care of the planet Earth, work for fair treatment of all people, do social action so everybody can vote, fight against racism. It all sounds pretty serious and sometimes kind of frustrating, but can social action work be joyful? And you and I decided that we would talk to the kids today about freedom songs. You were telling me you had a favorite singing group for freedom songs, and you were thinking about maybe teaching the kids in the gospel ensemble some of their songs. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, one of my favorite group that I love to listen to and also sing with is the group Sweet Honey and the Rock.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk about a little bit about the freedom songs. During the 1960s and between the 1940s and the 1960s, because of segregation, Blacks were systematically separated from being in communion and community with whites. So music was important to creating a community, and the sense of commonality we feel when we sing together. It may or may not last, but it is a very powerful feeling. And it comes from singing and listening to music in a very deep and meaningful way. It takes everyone to make that music, old and young, male and female, white and black, brown, yellow, pink, singing together crosses generation. It crosses time. It's kind of a motto, okay? We can make music together. Why can't we live together in peace, valuing each other's voice?
Yeah, that congregational singing, that singing of all the people together, young and old, a good voice, a not so good voice, is really, really powerful. I learned about the founder of Sweet Honey in the Rock, the woman who started that singing group. And when she was only 5 years old, she was singing in her church. Her father was a Baptist minister, and she says that she felt the power of all of the other people singing with her together, and she would pull that into her soul, into her lungs, into her voice, and it would make her voice stronger and her voice more beautiful. So for her, it was a powerful thing, and she was a very famous freedom singer during her teens and her early 20s, and then when she was around 30, she founded Sweet Honey in the Rock. I was wondering if you could share one of the songs that you were thinking of maybe sharing with the gospel ensemble, that Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around. Could you share a little bit about that? Share that song with us.
Another thing too, if you notice that whenever those singers were singing, they didn't worry about what people thought of them. They just it was like they let the words and the songs like cover them like a blanket. And when they were singing, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. And these songs really encourage them to not to give up, not to give in, not to let what's happening around you make you sad. But that's what music does. Music has a way to elevate your soul. And one of the other songs that I love, and I want you to join with me, is the song Woke Up This Morning with My Mind. Originally, it was said, stayed on Jesus. But what they did is that they changed the words to stayed on freedom. So let's sing it together.
Okay, you're going to lead.
Woke up this morning with my mind.
Stayed on freedom.
I woke up this morning with my mind.
Stayed on freedom.
I woke up this morning with my mind
Stayed on freedom.
Hallelujah.
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 I'm walking and talking with my mind.
Stayed on courage.
I will talk, walking and talking with my mind.
Stayed on courage.
I'm walking and talking with my mind.
Stayed on a joyful heart.
Hallelujah.
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 Well, we have to get ready for Mary Margaret's homily and her sermon, but I just want people to know that for the social action opportunities this week, I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff about Sweet Honey in the Rock and some of the stories about Dr. Bernice Johnson, Reagan, and I hope that we do hear some of these songs through the Children's Gospel ensemble as we move out of the pandemic. Thanks for sharing, Anderson.
Oh, thank you. And just remember that whenever anything happens, just always sing. Singing unites us together, and sing joyfully. And with a joyful heart, things will get better.
Yep, I believe that too.
Thank you so much for that wonderful message and that music, Anderson and Adrian. Our readings this morning are excerpts by the theologian Howard Thurman, who was dean at Boston University's Marsh Chapel and was a mentor to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Our first reading is from The Inward Journey. Inherent in life is meaning. There is a quality independent of the way in which outside forces may operate upon life. The life in the seed bursts forth in root and stalk and fruit. The whole process takes place within. Many forces may operate upon it from without, cramping the roots, making the shape of the stalk into a caricature of itself, but always, with whatever life there is, the built-in purpose is never given up. Concerning this meaning, there is no doubt wherever life appears. This is the integrity of life. It is the commitment of life. This is the singular characteristic of all aliveness. This is the miracle. And listen to the long stillness. New life is stirring. New dreams are on the wing. New hopes are being readied. Humankind is fashioning a new heart. Humankind is forging a new mind. God is at work. This is the season of promise. And so ends our readings. Good morning, my Concord friends. It is so good to be with you. I miss parking on Lexington Road and crossing the green and entering your beautiful sanctuary to preach. But this is a way to connect, so I'll take it. First, I want to thank my good colleague, the Reverend Howard Dana, for so warmly welcoming me this morning. It is good to be here with him. Concord has been a great friend to the urban ministry in so many ways through the years. Your choir has brought music into our historic meeting house, and you, among you, have attended our concerts and our discussions and our jazz concerts on the green space and taken youth-led tours of our campus and Roxbury neighborhood. You've collected gift cards for the holidays for families in our domestic violence programs, with Bob Brack arriving on our campus as Santa. We have a long and rich history with the Funderburg Scholars Program, so ably run by Loretta Ho-Sherblum. The program, which you support, provides laptops and textbooks and tuition assistance to college-bound students who graduated from our high school after-school program. Thank you, Loretta and all. Among the champions of our work in Concord are Alec Walker and Caitlin Selly, Tony Rodriguez and Janet Donovan and Leslie Fisher. We are grateful for the support of those such as Ed Kane and Marty Wallace and Barry and Connie Hershey. We receive a generous and important grant each year from First Parish, which sustains our work. Thank you. Wendy Holt and Marianne Barton are delegates to the UU Urban Ministry from First Parish, and they help to connect Concordians to our work. And I especially lift up someone who has been one of our most faithful friends, your music director, Beth Norton. Beth has brought music into our meeting house even when it had no heat. It has heat now. She serves on our meeting house restoration committee, committed to seeing through the transformation of that historic building in Roxbury into an event venue to serve our Roxbury neighbors. Her commitment to racial justice and her humility illuminate all that she does. So thank you, Beth. It is good to be here with you as well. Thank you, First Parish, for all the ways you help to make the work of the UU Urban Ministry possible as a congregation and by many individuals. I come here this morning grateful. For those of you less familiar with the UU Urban Ministry, we are a 190-year-old Boston-based nonprofit. We have about 50 member congregations around Greater Boston, like Concord. Over those nearly 2 centuries, we've done many things: founded an Asian appropriate food pantry, built elder housing, run a free legal clinic. In 2021, we do 3 basic things. We serve survivors of domestic violence at our Renewal House shelter and offer a job readiness program for survivors from across Greater Boston. We provide tutoring and after-school programming to Boston high school students of color seeking to level the educational field and assist with college applications. We teach young people an appreciation for history and use the historic campus that we inherited in Roxbury as a living classroom to give historic walking tours. And we engage the Roxbury community, especially through the arts and humanities and through partnership in the neighborhood. I thank Concord for engaging in the work of the urban ministry now and as we look to the future. And the future, my friends, beckons. We have entered a new year, but the shadows of 2020 remain. Our country entered 2020 awash in anger and division, divided on the most basic of things like science. Late last winter, the pandemic befell us. And in the spring, we were jolted by the casual police killing of George Floyd, stunned to see 400 years of racism distilled into 8 interminable minutes. Last summer, we witnessed the Black Lives Matter uprising in the streets and on town commons. We entered this new year witnessing again the ongoing division and last month's rioting in Washington, D.C. White people have been confronted squarely by the legacy of enslavement. For the past 4.5 years, truths long shrouded have been revealed. Racism no longer dwelled only in the interpretation of health and wealth and educational disparities. Facts like the net worth for white households in Boston, what you own after you subtract debt, for white households is $247,000, and for Black families, it is $8. Facts like the average lifespan in Roxbury is 30 years less than it is 1 mile away in the white neighborhood of Back Bay. Facts like African-American adults are 6 times as likely to be incarcerated as whites. Racism and white supremacy over the past 4.5 years became even plainer than those numbers. White supremacists marched proudly, stepping out of the mist. Racist ideas and attitudes were shouted into the open air for all of us to see and hear. On January 6th, we watched the Confederate flag waved proudly in our Capitol. And all of it has shaken and sobered us. The truth of our country's history, the legacy of enslavement that lives in all of our institutions and also within us, emerged from the shadows. And the gift is this: what we can see, we can actually do something about. This is the moment that we are called to. This is a moment when we as a faith community have an uncommon potential to help give birth to something new. The beginning of 2021 did not mark the end of a struggle, but a new and hopeful chapter in this struggle. The work before us to heal racism will be the outward-facing work of petition and protest and march and mobilizing, but it must also be the work inward, the work within ourselves. And the journey inward to facing our own racism is hard work and essential work. This morning, I wanted to walk with you on that journey, the journey that I have been on since arriving at the urban ministry 6 years ago. I arrived in Roxbury after a decade working in the homeless community in Providence, Rhode Island. I came ready to work with domestic violence survivors and to support young people. But when I arrived, I learned quickly that there was more to our organization than our list of programs. We stood at the intersection between communities, rooted in the historic heart of Boston's Black community that had experienced and borne witness to the city's legacy of racism, and encircled by white suburban UU congregations being awakened to that legacy. Standing at that intersection meant reckoning with racism. But I didn't come to the urban ministry to talk about racism. I wasn't ready to. And on one of the first days that I was there, the police officers in Ferguson, Missouri, who had killed Michael Brown, were not indicted. This moment propelled the Black Lives Matter movement into the national consciousness. And the urban ministry staff came to me and asked me to make a public statement. I didn't know what to say. I was afraid to talk about racism. That day was the beginning of a new leg of my journey, not just my outward journey for justice, but also my inward journey. This morning, I share 3 lessons that I'm learning on the way. First, the spiritual journey of dismantling racism, work that we are all called to do, asks us to tolerate discomfort and pain, the pain of learning the real history of America, the pain of learning the way it privileges white people, the pain of facing those health and wealth and educational disparities. Robin DiAngelo, in her book, White Fragility, writes this: race will influence whether we will survive our birth, where we are most likely to live, which schools we will attend, who our friends and partners will be, what careers we will have, how much money we will earn, how healthy we will be, and even how long we can expect to live, she wrote. DiAngelo, who is white, spent years as a diversity and inclusion trainer and saw over and over again white people, and especially those who saw themselves as progressive, as so defensive about witnessing white supremacy that their defensiveness protected the systems that perpetuated it. A step on our journey is laying down our defenses, to become aware when our shoulders tighten and we prepare to say, but wait, not me. A step on our journey is to keep opening, waiting, breathing. A step on our journey is the practice of stillness. Theologian Howard Thurman said, listen to the long stillness. New life is stirring. New dreams are on the wing. New hopes are being readied. Humankind is fashioning a new heart. Humankind is forging a new mind. God is at work. This is the season of promise. When we still our defenses, something new may emerge. The second lesson on my journey, and this is so hard, is letting go of goodness. Our task is not to seem good. It's paying attention. It's looking at what needs to be witnessed. In White Fragility, DiAngelo describes that our biggest hurdle to addressing racism is white intolerance to thinking that we participate in the systems that uphold how those systems benefit us. DiAngelo writes, I could see the power of the belief that only bad people were racist. I could see how we are taught to think about racism as only discrete acts committed by individual people, rather than as a complex, interconnected system. It became clear, she wrote, that if I believed that only bad people who intended to hurt others because of race could ever do so, that I would respond to outrage to any suggestion that I was involved in racism. She continued, of course, that belief would make me feel falsely accused of something terrible. Of course, I would want to defend my own character, she wrote. When we protect our own sense of being good at the expense of seeing truth, we risk doing more harm. None of us created the world into which we were born. We were born into a nation built upon enslavement. Our modern police forces were born of slave patrols whose charge was capturing fleeing slaves. Our founding fathers enslaved people even while writing the Declaration of Independence. It would be impossible to imagine that we did not inhale racism like a villager living by the smokestacks inhales pollution. When we protect our goodness, instead of examining our contribution to racism and white supremacy, we uphold them. We need to trust our beloved. That is guaranteed and non-negotiable. And then we need to face what is. My third lesson is that working towards justice is not just toil. There is joy in this journey. Joy in meeting sisters and brothers working alongside us. Joy in meeting new people across difference. In the past 6 years, I have had 1,000 hard and challenging moments, awkward moments, unsettling moments that I needed to breathe and listen my way through. But I have met the most wonderful people along the way. That's how this work is. We don't move alone. We build up our human family as we go. I have met white allies who have modeled humility and taught me to follow Black leaders. I have met Black leaders who have spoken truth and shown grace and generosity and forgiveness. I have listened to Black elders sharing stories of the Boston of their childhoods. And I have sat at the table with people building up the sisterhood and brotherhood of our human family and laughed and broken bread and known this is beautiful and blessed work. This is a joy. No matter how hard and uncomfortable, this is the work worth doing. In her book, Healing Zen, author Ellen Burks, a nurse who works with ill patients, described the work of caregivers for those who are sick. And she writes, healing work is not only physical and psychological, it is also spiritual. Spirituality opens you up to the mystery and wonder of life and fills you with energy and vitality. Spirituality results in a deep sense of connection with all people, all creatures on the earth. Spiritual development manifests in love and compassionate action. She wrote, she was writing of the work of healing patients who are sick. We are tasked with healing a country that is sick. And we begin here. When we pick up the work of the world, when we are willing to climb the mountain towards justice one step at a time, when we are willing to do the work outwardly and inwardly, we infuse our lives with our true meaning. I invite you to join us at the Urban Ministry as we continue to pick up that work with your help. Join us on Tuesday, March 9th for a virtual panel on Henry Hampton, who produced Eyes on the Prize while living in Roxbury. Learn about our Roxbury Artist Amplification Project, which invites congregations to showcase Black artists. Join our mailing list for ways to partner with us in partnering with Roxbury. New life is stirring, Howard Thurman wrote. New dreams are on the wing. New hopes are being ready. Humankind is fashioning a new heart. This is the season of promise, and may it be so, and amen.
Thank you, Mary Margaret, for your words and for your ministry and for your leadership. If a wounded world we wish to heal, we must sing no ordinary song. These are words from a hymn written by Elizabeth Alexander, the UU composer, in 2020. And it is a song that has become one of the quarantunes that the First Parish Choir has learned while we are rehearsing together and singing together in a remote setting. We offer the song today to honor the ministry and the work of the urban ministry in First Church in Roxbury. And I want to say that there are pictures in this video that we are thankful to Nora Sullivan and Bithia Israel from the urban ministry for providing, as well as some anonymous photographers from First Parish. So, no ordinary song.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mary Margaret. Thank you, musicians. Each week, we come together from our own living rooms, our own kitchens, our own hearths, and join our hearts together. This week, we join together in sending our love, our care, and support to Liz and her mother, Rosemary, and their family. And we send our care and support to Margaret. We remember her sister, Catherine, and we lift up their whole family. I wonder who else you are sending your care and support to today, and who you would like us all as a community to join in lifting up. I invite you to type their name into the chat now, or to call their name aloud into your space now, as we join in this chorus of names, join in this chorus of prayer and care.
Spirit of God.
Friends, as these names keep coming, let's just take a minute to hold everyone who is asking to be held, everyone who is asking to be witnessed and prayed for, everyone who is in need of support today. And if that's you, know that my heart is with you, my heart is here for you. Know that you can reach out to those of us at First Parish anytime you are in need. You can keep those names coming. And let's join all of our hearts in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Spirit of love that binds all humanity. This is a prayer for all who are suffering, for all who are sick with COVID-19, all who are still too cold in Texas and elsewhere, all who are at the end of life, especially Liz's mother, Rosemary, all who are grieving, especially Margaret, all who are without work, all who are isolated or without meaningful connections to friends, family, community, all who are in pain. May there be a balm to all suffering. May there be gentleness and peace, a blanket of love, a time of stillness that we may live into, and a time of promise. Our world is in pain and suffering, as well as joy. We face the pandemics of COVID-19, knowing that it is hand in hand with the pandemics of racism and systemic injustice, especially here in our country. In the face of great suffering, we give thanks that when we stop and notice the pain and injustice, the suffering around us, we can do something about it. May those of us who are white especially continue that inward understanding and listen and follow leaders who are most affected by systemic racism and white supremacy culture. May those of us who are people of color feel supported and continue to decide when to take the lead and when to rest and when to work in partnership. Come, come, thou fount of every blessing, thou fount of change, of inward growth and outward change that brings us moment by moment closer to repair. May we listen to the long stillness and live with gentle but fierce hope in this season of promise, in the joy of deepening relationships, in the stories that we hear and tell, and in the connections that our spirits share. May we be enriched and blessed by these connections always. May we hold fast to them. Bless Mary Margaret and the work of the UU Urban Ministry. May their ministry and collaborations grow in depth and flourish. May our partnership with them and them with us, may our partnership continue in strength and love. May all who have come in pain today find solace. May all who have come in joy find their joy doubled. And may each of us, by our daily living, make our world a better place. Let us sit together for a moment in the midst of this stillness.
Today, I light our social action candle to honor with gratitude our connection to the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry and First Church in Roxbury. We are both united and divided by long and layered history around race and revolution, poverty and privilege, justice and joy. I light this candle in celebration of past connections and in hopes that our relationship will deepen and strengthen in the months and years to come. And now is our opportunity to contribute to both the good work of First Parish in Concord and this month's Share the Plate recipient, Hagar Sisters, whose holistic services enable women to find healing and a new healthy way of life free from domestic abuse. Our collection each week is split 50-50 between First Parish and the Share the Plate recipient. You will see a number appear on your screen in just a moment that will allow you to text your donation. Just text a whole number, a 20, a 50, a 75. The first time you will need your credit card handy. You can also donate through our website or through the postal mail with a check sent to First Parish. So let us now gratefully receive today's offering.
If you are a pledging member of the church or part of a chartered group, you can nominate the organizations that will receive our Share the Plate contributions next year. The nominations are open now until the end of March. You're welcome to nominate any 501c3 organization for the next cycle, which is September through June, for the Share the Plate collections. Contact Adrian and look at the social action section of our website at firstparish.org for more information. If you would like to do some more introspection and learning around embodied racism, our Beloved Conversations registration closes on February 26th. This is the last week for you to contact Adrian so she can put your name on a list of congregants interested in taking the spring online Beloved Conversations course. Note that our church is looking to help pay the registration fees for those who are new to Beloved Conversations. We want a representation from among all sectors of the church, so don't hesitate to ask us all of your questions. Right after the service, there are a couple of opportunities to continue to connect with one another and with us. There is the worship sharing circle where you can continue to discuss the themes of this week's service. And there's also coffee hour, and Laurel Doggett from the Standing Committee is here to tell you more.
Good morning, First Parish. I'm Laurel Doggett, and I'm a member of the Standing Committee. And every week after the service, we host a virtual coffee hour. It's about half an hour, goes to 11:30 a.m. We divide into small groups, so it's very friendly. I was thinking we could expand on what Dinny talked about today and the rituals that you may use that help keep you grounded and savor the moment. Or maybe we can talk about our escape hatches, whether it's podcasts, movies, binge watching, whatever it is that helps you get through these times. Regardless, I'd love to see you and meet you. So again, the chat, in the chat will be the link, and just click on the Zoom and come on over and say hello. Thank you.
Finally, please be sure to read your First Parish Weekly or FP Weekly emails that come from Sarah. They are a wonderful place to see all of the wonderful things happening at First Parish all week long. So you don't need to limit your church experience to Sunday only. This week, for instance, there is a fireside chat that Susan Ward is organizing that I'm a part of. The theme this month is forgiveness. And Howard is continuing his Bible as Story series on Thursday. He's doing the New Testament now. And finally, we are going to join in our closing song for All That Is Our Life. So please join us.
For all that is
We enter this new year shaken and sobered, witnessing what has been revealed, the racism embedded in our institutions and the racism that dwells within us. This is the challenge. This is the gift. This is the call to face what is and to live into our potential as human beings and as a faith community to make change that is deep and transformational and enduring. And may it be so.
Let us join in saying our first parish benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings.